What is meant by virtualization? We have stopped there, I think. So we will be continuing from that. So yeah. So if you can see here, hello all, hello, welcome to the session. So when you see here we are having some physical server. In the last session we discussed about that, but as of now I just want to show you to make you a more comfortable with your session, with the session. I just want to go further into the detailing of that. So when you see here, we are having a physical server in our on-premises environment. So what is this physical server? A physical server is a bare metal server or else a dedicated server. So it just refers to a machine. So that is dedicated to running the applications and all the things. So why we are using the servers? Obviously, we are going to use the servers for running the application. Now, what is the problem here? A physical server operates independently and can be located on premises within an organization data center or hosted in a dedicated facility. So if at all, if you are working for an organization, you know what is meant by a data center. If at all, if you are an administrator or else many of times, if at all, if you are a developer also, many of the times some administrators might be saying you that we need to take some server from the data center. They will be using these words. Now, what is this? A physical server operates independently and can be located on premises. Located on premises in the sense, you can have the physical server in your offices. So inside your offices, or else you can have in a data center. So if the best example what I can give you here is, if at all, if your company is a startup company, so previously these startup companies used to get the servers. For example, you are having a startup company, and you don't require, as it is a startup company, you don't require a huge amount of infrastructure. So they are going to purchase a single server, or at least one or two servers they are going to purchase. Whoever are the owners of that company, they are going to purchase these servers, and they are going to keep the servers in the server room. Okay, there is a specialized name or a specialized place called as server room. Inside the server room there will be a rack, and inside the rack you can find out the servers. This is how the servers will be located. So these are the physical servers. But if at all, if you are working in an MNC company as a system administrator or else anything else, okay, so if there is an MNC company, for that MNC company, if they want to deploy the servers, or else if they want to deploy any application, so those MNC companies, you don't find the server rooms. Actually, you will have the entire company will be coped up with the employees. Entire company will be it will be employees only. But where you will find out the servers? Have you ever questioned that? Here we are having all the people are residing here, but where are the servers? We are hosting the web application, or else we are hosting the applications. The developer will develop the application and they will send it to the administrators, and administrator will host the application. So where they are going to host this application? Hosting in the sense where they are going to create this application, where they are going to install this application. So these employees, whoever are the developers, they are going to install the applications inside the servers. But where are the servers now? So the servers are available on a specialized facility called as a data center. For every company, there will be a data center. Here you can see this is my office. Okay, so inside this office, right now I am working, like I am having a server in the data center. Okay. Okay, inside this data center, I can have so many number of servers. So on those servers, what I can do, so the employees will be connecting through the network, okay, through the VPN or else through the network configuration. The employees will be connecting to those servers. And when they are connecting to those servers, they can deploy whatever the application they want, they can deploy on the servers. And after that, they can provide the access to the users. They can provide the access to the end users. So end user doesn't need to know about the servers and all the configuration they need. They want what they want. The end users want only the application. So this is how happens in the backend. So either your servers might be in the server room, or else your servers might be in a data center. Okay. So for everyone, is my voice is clear for you?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go back here, so this is how your data center and the server rooms will be looking like. And next, what they are saying here, when you look into this, so it runs an operating system directly on the hardware and provides the computing resources such as power, memory, storage, and support various applications and the services. So to run the application, you need to have the operating system which is installed on the server. Either it might be a Red Hat operating system, Windows servers, or else there are so many different types of operating systems that are available in the market. Either it might be Ubuntu, it might be Red Hat, it might be CentOS, it might be SUSE, or else it might be Mint, or else Windows servers, Windows Server 2016, 2019, 2022, 2008. So I don't know. So there are so many different types of operating system versions are available. Among those operating system versions, you will select a compatible operating system. Most probably for every web application, majority number of the companies right now are using the Linux operating system, especially they are using the Red Hat, or else they are using the Ubuntu operating system. Among those two operating system, any operating system you can use. Or else some of the companies, a few companies are using the Sun Solaris and AX, IBM AX, Linux, or else Unix operating system. That totally depends upon the choice. That totally depends upon the application choice and as well as the user choice. So depending on that, so what it is saying, it runs an operating system directly on the hardware and provides computing resources such as power, memory, storage. Okay, so these are the things that are provided by your server for the various application. To run an application, what are the requirements? For example, if you can see here, let me give a small example. I'm running an application. Look at that. For running the application, that application is going to consume some memory. Here you can see the Google Chrome is consuming some memory. So if I close this, automatically the memory will be reduced. See here, the Google Chrome, the application has been closed so that the memory occupation or else the amount of memory occupied by the application will be removed. So the whenever we are running any sort of application, so those applications will consume my memory and consume my processing power. Processing power in the sense, for example, if you don't have the processor inside your computer, are you able to start your computer? It is impossible to start your computer without running CPU. So what happens whenever you turn on the computer or any server, first component that should be turned on is processor. So this processor, for example, let me give a very brief example for you. You can clearly understand. You in the night you slept, and in the early hours when you woke up, so directly you go into the work. First of all, your brain has to turn on, and after that, what it will do, it will check out all your organs and all the things, and it will send a message to the and it will understand, it will analyze. So each and everything is working fine. So you can get up. So once you have started your routine, daily routine, so your brain will continuously working. So take the pen, take the book, or else take the laptop, work on it, and you have to do that, you have to do this. Everything will be processed by your brain. In the same manner, whenever you turn on your computer, first of all, the processor should be turning on. So if your brain is not turned on, so that is the reason why a patient who is laying on the bed, they can be quote him as a brain dead person. Brain dead person cannot do anything. In the same manner, if at all, if your computer or server is running, first of all, the processor should be turned on. So this processor is a critical component in the servers or computers. So what is the main work of the processor? To process your workloads, to make or else to create some applications, to run some applications. So the total processing power for running that application, you need to run the processor. And then where actual applications will be there. So for example, if I am saying this lecture today, so what I am saying you here is tomorrow there is no class. If I say this, okay, tomorrow there is no class. If I say this, now what you will do, uh, whether are you going to note down anywhere? So are you going to note down anywhere? You are not going to note down anywhere. But when it comes to tomorrow, obviously you are not going to attend the session. Or else if I say that tomorrow you have to discuss about something called as VPC. So are you going to note down anywhere? You are not going to note down. You are just simply remember it. So which means that particular instruction will be stored in your memory. At that particular point of time, that instruction is going to be triggered and processed. So if I say that tomorrow your class is at 8:30 a.m., 8:30 p.m. So by exactly by 8:30 p.m. you are going to, the memory is going to trigger your brain saying that at exactly at 8:30 p.m. we are having the class. So it is going to say some work to your processor. In the same manner, if the application is running, if the application has to process, then what should be happen? That application will be stored in the memory. So whatever the application that is stored in the memory, that will be processed by your processor. And actually the application will be installed on the storage in your hard disk. Okay, so that is what they are saying. So it runs an operating system directly on hardware and provides the computing resource such as processing power, memory and storage to support various application and services. So these will be looking like basics, but they will be helpful for you. Now, here you can see physical server is typically assigned a specific task or workload, such as hosting a website, running the database, or serving an application service. These servers has dedicated resources and operate in the isolation from another servers. So one server will not communicate. I cannot say this particular line. One server will not be isolated, will be in the isolation with the another server. I cannot say this. But whatever the application that is running on the server, so that server will have that particular application only. It is not going to involve in any another application. Okay, so here the main problem with this is, see here, this is the last line is very important for you. Physical server offers high performance and low latency. This is an advantage for you. The whatever the physical server you are having, it will provide the high performance. And the latency, in the sense the time to retrieve some data, is called as latency. So it is going to provide low latency since they are directly access the hardware resources. However, they can result in the underutilization. This is very important. So these are the pros of your physical servers. What is that? High performance and low latency is the, what I can say, pros, which means advantages of your physical server. What are the disadvantages? So the disadvantage is that underutilization of resources will be happening. Why? Because only one application is running. When one application is running, the application will not consume the entire resources. When the application is not utilizing the entire resources, a part of resources it is utilizing, what about the remaining resource capacity? It will be underutilized, as an individual server often runs at a fraction of their capacity. See here, this is very important. So the application will be using a fraction of the capacity, not the total capacity. But what about the remaining thing? Remaining resources will be wasted. So what it is going to happen? Leading to the inefficient resource allocation and increase the operational cost. So the inefficient resources will be, or else not high capacity servers can run a minimal application, causing that high cost. We have to purchase the servers with paying so much amount of money, but we are using only for a small application. So this is the main problem, main drawback with the physical server. Then what happened? See here, I'm having three scenarios. Consider a company that have a multiple servers running in the data center. Each physical server is equipped with the amount of CPU, memory, storage, and networking resources. These physical servers would run on a single operating system and hosted one or few applications. However, this approach results in the underutilization of resources. So that is what the main thing. Okay, so if you can understand this, take an example. For example, let's say a company has 3 physical servers, each with 16 core CPU or 16 CPU, 64 GB of RAM, and 1 TB of hard disk. With the traditional physical server development, if each server hosts a single application, there may be the instances where the application only utilizes a fraction of the available resources. This could be due to the variation in the workloads. So this is very important. This point, if you understand this point, then we are going for why we have to go for the virtualization. You will understand that. By adopting the virtualization, the company can maximize the resource utilization by running multiple virtual machines on each physical server. This point is important. So we are going to run multiple virtual machines. So here I am having multiple physical servers. Inside the physical servers, I am going to divide the server into logical servers. Again, multiple logical servers. Those are called as virtual machines. Each VM operates as an independent, isolated environment within its own virtualized CPU, memory, and storage. If I have to give you a scenario, take like this. For example, you have purchased a hard disk. Uh, an external hard disk or else an internal hard disk for your computer. Now, physically, if you see how many hard disks you are having, can you tell me physically, if you see how many number of hard disks that you have right now? Anyone? I said that you have purchased one hard disk. By physically looking, you are having only a single hard disk. Physically, physical or for physical overview, if you can see, you are having a single hard disk. But what you can do, whatever the hard disk that you are having, you can divide that hard disk into partitions, which means that are we breaking the hard disk into pieces? We are not breaking the hard disk into pieces physically, but what we are doing, we are dividing the hard disk logically inside the operating system. We are dividing the hard disk logically into different partitions, so that one partition will have some 100 GB and another partition will have some 200 GB. That depends upon our wish. In the same manner, if you can see here, I am having a physical server, and this physical server is not going to be physically converted into virtual machines, which means that I am not going to break the servers into multiple virtual machines. But by using some software called as virtualization software, either it might be VMware ESXi or else Citrix Gen servers, or else Amazon is going to use its own virtualization. And as well as when you come back to the what I can say, VBox virtual box, which is designed by Oracle, and KVM kernel based virtual machines, which is developed by Linux organization, depending upon your requirement. So we can use our virtualization technology. So by using this virtualization technology, we are dividing the server into multiple multiple virtual machines. A single physical server will be divided into multiple virtual machines. Did you understand now what is the problem here? Any questions? Did you understand what I'm saying right now? Any questions? So do you understand the problem?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I go for the next one? Right. So when you see here, this is the real-time scenario. So that is the reason why we are going for the virtualization. When we are going for the virtualization, what is this virtualization? See here, they are clearly mentioning that virtualization technology refers to the software and hardware technologies that enable the creation and management of virtual resources, such as virtual machines or virtual networks on a physical server or a computer. It allows for the abstraction of physical resources and creation of the virtualized environment. If I say this word, you will be a little bit confused, but if you see this diagram, see here, I am having the server hardware. Server hardware means what will be there inside the hardware? Can anybody guess it and tell me what will be there inside the hardware? Yes, what will be a server hardware? What is meant by a server hardware?
STD and RAM.
Exactly. So RAM, CPU, hard disk, these are all comes under the server hardware. If you can see, there is a server hardware. On the server hardware, we are going to install the virtualization. Either it might be VMware ESXi or else Citrix or else anything. So virtualization, that is Hyper-V. On that, we are going to create a guest operating system. Here you can see this is a guest operating system, which means that on the server hardware, we can have an operating system. So if you can see here, let me show you one thing. Okay, if you can see, hold on. So this is my Windows 11 operating system. On this Windows 11 operating system, what I am doing, so if you can see here, what is the diagram that they are showing you? Let me show you this one. So on the hardware, I am going to install my operating system, or else directly you can install the virtualization also. So it is not a recommended practice to install the operating system. Like there are two types of virtualization. One is type 1 virtualization and type 2 virtualization. We are now discussing about the type 2 virtualization. See here, we are having an operating system called as Windows 11. On Windows 11, I am going to run some virtualized machines. Either it might be Windows 10 or else it might be Windows Server 2019, as I showed you in the yesterday's class. We can run these missions. So if you can see this diagram, the diagram explains the same. So you will be having multiple guest OS. On the multiple guest operating system, you can run the multiple applications. So by utilizing this virtualization, what we can do, we can increase the resource utilization. We can optimize my resource utilization, which means that I can run multiple applications on the multiple servers by consuming the total resource capacity of my server. Not the maximum resource capacity, but yes, optimized condition. In an optimized condition, I can run my server. So this is about your virtualization technology. Now, if you go further into the concept here, it is going to discuss about what are the benefits of the virtualization. So virtualization enables the consolidation of multiple servers, and what I can say, here you can say multiple servers or workloads onto fewer physical servers, leading to be better resource utilization, as we already discussed about that. So in place of purchasing multiple servers, here we can purchase a single server. Inside the single server, we can run the multiple virtual machines, so that we can save the cost, or else we can save our money. And the next one is resource utilization will be better. So optimized resource utilization will be there. Isolation and security. What is this isolation and security? Whenever you are creating two virtual servers, you can create an isolation between that, which means that one server cannot communicate with the another server. It is not a mandatory thing. If you want, you can make the communication between the servers, but the fine thing here is, but the final topic is, so one server, whatever you have deployed in, whatever you deployed in the virtualization, one server will not communicate with the another server. So there will be an isolation. By default, there will be an isolation. If you want, you can create the communication. So that is what they are saying. Each virtual machines or containers is isolated from another. So why we are discussing about all these things, that as it is a AWS class, you can directly go into the AWS. Then why you are discussing about the virtualization, servers and networking topics? Because these are the basics. If you understand this, you can go very easily into the AWS. Now the next thing here is, that is what isolation and security, flexibility and scalability. Flexibility in the sense, so if at all, if you want to increase the resources, that will comes under the scalability. Scalability in the sense, suddenly there is a load on my server, I want to increase the resources, you can increase the resources. I want to increase the servers, you can increase the servers. There is no problem. There is no necessity of purchasing new hardware. If at all, if you are having the resources, you can easily increase the number of servers. So there will be scalability. Here they are saying that virtual machines and containers can be easily provisioned, migrated and scaled up and down. Scaled up and down in the sense, we can increase the servers or else we can decrease the servers. We can increase the resource utilization, or else we can decrease the resource utilization. That scalability will be there, allowing for the greater flexibility and adaptability in the IT infrastructure, and improve disaster recovery and high availability. So virtualization will provide that. And the next one here is, what are the types of virtualization? So this is the hardware virtualization, and we are having an operating system virtualization called as your Docker. So this Docker will comes under the operating system virtualization. So I will forward this PPT anyways for you, but just I am saying you. And the next one, this is all about the containers and all the things. This will comes under the Docker. So that is the reason we are going for the cloud computing. So for the cloud computing, the most important configurations that you need to understand here is, for the cloud, whenever we are discussing about the cloud, whatever the servers that we deploy in the cloud, those are all comes under the virtual machines only. If I have to say you, I just want to show you how you can create a server. So I am going to sign into the console. Here we are going to create a server. So when I create the server, it is pretty easy for creating the server, and as well as it will be pretty easy for deleting the servers. Creation will take no time. And see here what I can do in the cloud. For example, if I go to awsegit.gmail and I will provide the password here. Okay, and whatever the servers that we deploy on the cloud, those are all the virtual machines only, not the physical servers. We are not going to use the physical servers. Whatever the servers that are deployed, those are all the virtual servers only. Here I am going to create a server. See here. So instances, launch an instance. See, within how many seconds or else how much time I am going to create an application, and I will provide you the access. So this is my app-server I will go with Ubuntu, or else you can go with any of the operating system. Let me go with the Ubuntu T2 Micro. You will understand all these things in the upcoming topics. Select an existing security group, and then you will come to know about this. Don't worry, from Monday onwards we will be working with the VPC configuration, so you don't need to worry about that. So in the advanced details, simply what I will do here is shebang /bin/bash, and what I can do, apt install -y nginx, and launch the instance. See here, whenever I deployed this instance, what is going to happen? So within a few seconds, I can access at least one of the website, or else I can access the nginx. So if you see here in the cloud, how much time it took for me to create a server? Within 5 minutes, I have created the server. And if you are very good at configuring the applications and all the things, within 15 to 20 minutes, you can create an application and you can run the application on your server. So let me show you one thing. So I will go with the app server, copy the public IP, and one more thing I can show you here. I can install whatever the application I want. So for example, if I want to install the Docker, I can install the Docker and I can run some application. It will be far behind your imagination. So let me show you. It will be overwhelming for you if I say all these things, but as it is a demo session, see here what I can do. Already we can run the nginx application, and as well as what I can do here is, see here, https://get.docker.com, and if I go for bash, see here Docker will be installed, and what I can do, I will show you that one. Okay, so if you see here, let me copy this public DNS and search in the box. Look at that. Within a few minutes, I can access the nginx. Not only that, see here, welcome to nginx. You got a web page. Not only that, by installing the Docker, what I can do here, I can run a few more applications. If you want to try it out, you can try it out. I will put in your chat box. Try to access this. So I just gave you the URL. You can access that, or else let me do one thing. I will provide you the particular URL so that you can access that. So when you access it, everyone will get the, what I can say, everyone is going to get welcome to nginx. And not only that, what I can do here is right now, okay, so now docker run -rm -itd. You don't need to worry about all these things. --name nginx, and then -p 8989,
Not
or else
shared.
not shared. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Are you able to see now?
Yes.
Okay. So Chaitanya Manikumar / what I can do here is, yeah, game version 1. Okay. So I have deployed another application. So if you want to try it out, you can try it out. So for example, I will go with what is the port that I have given here, 9989. So here you can see, let me go back to this. I will go with the same IP address with the port number 9989. Look at that, you are getting a new application. Within seconds, what we can do, we can change our applications. So if at all, if you are implementing some Docker, Kubernetes, and not only that, so previously how much time it is going to take to create an application, or else to deploy an application. For creation, of course, it is going to take time. For the developers and for the testing people, it is going to take the time. So they have to write the code, they have to write the front end, and for that front end we need to write some we need to write the back end for, like, with the help of an application called as Java, Python, and then we need to go for the configuration of database. This is called as a 3-tier architecture. There will be a UI developer, and then there will be a what I can say Python developer or else application development team will be there, and after that there will be a testing people who is going to do some automate testing or else manual testing, and later on there will be a database team where the data will be where they are going to supervise the data, and these are all the teams. Whenever this application is packed, whenever this application is built, they will forward it to the admin team. So now in the conventional method, what admin team has to do, they have to create a physical server and they have to install the operating system and they have to install each and every version running. So they need to set up a environment. After that they need to install that application, and they need to set up some security. So lot of things will be coming into the picture. But when cloud was introduced, when the cloud was introduced into the IT industry, so nobody will be worrying about the infrastructure. Infrastructure will be totally maintained by your cloud service provider only. So infrastructure in the sense, you don't need to worry about the physical servers, you don't need to worry about the network, you don't need to worry about the storage. But as a normal administrator, you have to worry about all these things. Either you need to worry about the server, how server is running, so whether the CPU is running very high, or else in the cloud also you have to monitor all these things. But there are some techniques to overcome these problems. And if the storage is increasing, so how we can get a notification? If the RAM is increasing, how we can get a notification? We can do all these things, so that it made very easy for the IT industry. So the cloud, when the cloud was came into the picture, so the entire phase of IT industry has been turned out. So nowadays in our villages, whatever the what I can say cooperative banks and whatnot, small medium scale companies, everything, everybody are using the cloud computing only. So and you can get it out. So we are storing our data, whether it is secured, of course it is very very secure. uh, I cannot prove that right now by showing you some video, but if you go to the YouTube and check out the Google data center security, you will get a beautiful video where they are going to provide some 10 layers of security. So whenever any person is entering into the data center, so there will be a 10 layers of security. Physically, if physically if a person is entering into the data center, there will be a 10 layers of security. They won't be allowing any electronic devices, they won't be allowing any gadgets. So nothing will be allowed into the data center. And as well as there will be having a huge firewall setup. What is this firewall? If at all, if any traffic that is entering into your data center, these firewalls may restrict them, if at all, if we configure any rules and regulations inside the firewall. So now the data center is totally secured. So these cloud computing, so whatever the servers that we are deploying in the AWS, they are totally secured. So how you can say that totally depends upon my knowledge. Okay, so that is what. Now whenever we are running this server, this is well and good. So any questions here up to now, why we need to go for cloud? Questions, guys? Any questions? Do you understand the concept? What is the necessity of going with the virtualization? What is the necessity of going with the cloud? Questions? Anyone? So you have a clarity about what is going around you. So I just want to ask you a question, and then we can go further into the concept. Uh, why we need to use the virtualization? That is my only question that I am going to ask. Why we need to use the virtualization? What is the necessity of going with the virtualization? If you answer me, then we can go further into the class. Yes, anyone?
Better utilization of the resources.
Exactly, very good. For the better utilization of, for optimization, or else optimized utilization of resources. Any another? Guys, are you with me? Any another answer? Anyone? Waiting for your responses. See, flexibility. Okay, very good. Lakshman has given a very good answer. That is called as flexibility. Okay, flexibility and scalability. Okay, that is good. Scalability. Okay, that is good. Okay, so this is the reason why we are going for the virtualization, for the flexibility, for scalability, isolation. There are so many other things. Now, my point is, for example, we are going to discuss about the cloud computing or else cloud. So what is this cloud? Have you ever heard this word called as cloud? And so many has heard about this. If you don't heard about what is cloud, why you will join in this session? That is a very bad question from my end. But anyways, so whenever you are to this session, everybody will have this ideology in the mind that they are attending the AWS classes. Now, what is meant by an AWS? Before you understand about the AWS is an simply it's a what I can say cloud service provider. Okay. So now what is meant by cloud? You need to say that. See, it will be like, for example, I studied my engineering in some XYZ college. Okay. So if I don't know what is engineering, okay, then what the colleges will provide, what I will understand. In the same manner, if you don't know what is meant by cloud, then if you are attending to this session called as AWS, what is the main intention of AWS? So in the previous session, I have so many questions from the developer point of view. But right now, the point is, so have you ever done the R&D about AWS? What AWS will provide? Before that, what is meant by cloud? Yes, any answers? Any answers, guys? What is meant by a cloud? Okay. So a lot of people will say cloud is a storage. This is the first answer that I am going to get. And some persons will say that cloud is a resource management. It's an infrastructure provider. That so many people will say that. Storage, they will say that. Infrastructure will say that. Now, but basically what is meant by cloud? Previously, so when AWS was introduced into the IT world, so in 2006, whenever it is introduced, the first service that is provided by Amazon is notification services only. In the cloud, they used to provide the notification, SNS, and these small topics they are going to provide. And later on, slowly they have improvised their services and they introduced S3, storage services, where we can store our data. So here, whenever we are discussing about the storages, what will be coming into your mind? So whenever I discuss about storage, what you will get in your mind? Yes, guys, don't sleep. Of course, I know this is a very late time, but still, infrastructure. So what? Whenever I say about the storage, what you will get in your mind?
Stores the like file or like an application.
Okay, very good. But for me, okay, to consume data. So for storage, whenever I say about the storage, the first thing which will be striking in my mind is hard disk, SSD, pen drives. You are thinking beyond that. Okay, so but I am thinking a basic level only. Why? Because I'm just a basic level student. Okay, so here when I discuss about storage, here we will be thinking about the hard disk. For example, I am not talking about the applications. Okay, when the Google Drive was introduced, when I used to go for the college in when I used to go for my engineering days, when I go back to my engineering days, at that particular time Google Drive was introduced. Okay, so everybody are saying that we can store the data in the internet, we can store the data in the internet, we can store the photos, we can store the files. I don't have that knowledge. Why? How they are going to store that? For example, if I want to store a picture in my phone, it is going to consume some 2 MB of size. So whenever I want to upload some 10 GB, 20 GB of images, how internet is going to hold that? So I am unable to understand that. So afterwards, when I do the R&D, or else when I try to learn about this cloud and all the things, then I understand that this storage, whatever the storage that you are seeing, okay, these are all the SAN storages, or else I can call them as a sandbox, a storage area network, which is created inside a data center. There will be a huge facility called as data center. Inside the data center, there will be a SAN facility. What is this SAN? SAN means you will have, so for example, this is your sandbox, or else if I have to show you, let me do one thing. SAN storage. Okay, look at that. This is how your sandbox will be looking like. So inside the sandbox, there will, these are all the hard disk base. These are called as hard disk base, where you can install your hard disk. Okay, so inside the data center like this, you will have so many number of some thousands and thousands of SAN databases or SAN storages will be available. So then slowly I understand, okay, when we upload a photo into our, so backend there will be some application that is running, that is going to be run, of course, that is mandatory. So whenever we upload some image into our drive, so it will be communicating with the internet, or else it will be the data will be transferred into the internet, and from the internet the data will be stored into the sandbox. This is what I know. So huge amount of data can be stored inside this SAN storages, and there are so many different ways we can store. Okay, later on we can discuss about that. But the point is, like this, we are going to store some data. This is the first service, or else the most important service that is provided by Amazon is the S3 buckets. And later on in 2010, there is a competitor developing for the AWS. The competitor is Azure. So AWS, for AWS, Microsoft has developed its own cloud called as Azure, and they are also implementing the services. So they first implemented the virtualization. They first implemented the virtual servers. So they have given a statement, a very clear statement, that the Microsoft has given a very clear statement that, so if you want to run your servers, you can, your servers can be run in our infrastructure. If you want to run your servers will be running in our infrastructure. That will reduce your operational cost. So if you want to run a server in your on premises, so what you have to do, you have to purchase the server, you have to maintain the server, you have to go for electricity billing, and then you have to look out for the maintenance cost. All this will be reduced. So your servers are on our premises. So with that, they have created a revolution. So after that, what happened, AWS has implemented EC2, the same configuration. So slowly it has been increasing. So the number of services in AWS right now, previously whenever it is started, only one services, but right now in AWS we are having 200 plus of services are available. Either it might be IT services, it might be machine learning, it might be AI, artificial intelligence, or else it might be somewhere like data analytics, like big data. So data analytics will be there. So there are so many services are available in AWS. Still AWS is increasing its services. Still there are so many services to explore. So whatever the services that we are exploring, that we are going to explore in these sessions, they are a minimal services only. But if at all, if you are going for the machine learning, so you can explore so many services in machine learning. If you are going for the artificial intelligence, you can explore so many services. If you are going for the big data like Redshift, so you can explore so many services in AWS. But whatever the services that we are discussing, those are related to the IT infrastructure only. So like this, the virtualization has changed the entire world. With the virtualization, the cloud has changed the entire IT industry. So nowadays, whenever any company is talking, not only companies, any sector is talking only about the cloud. So where are your resources? Where are your servers? My servers are in the cloud. I am using AWS. In the AWS, I am running some applications. My servers are totally configured on the AWS. If you go and ask some another person, where are your servers? They will say that my servers are running in Azure cloud. and another person will say that my servers are running in the GCP cloud. Nowadays, the utilization of on-premises has been totally reduced. So the cloud has playing a key role in the entire IT industry. Okay. So this is about your cloud introduction, just an introduction, but there are so many things that we have to discuss. Do you understand what is about the cloud? Any questions, guys? Questions? Okay, can I go further? At least
Yes.
provide me response so that we can go further into the topic. Now, whenever we are going into the concept, so we understand what is meant by cloud. So inside this cloud, how many types of clouds are there? That we will discuss in the next session. But as of now, we need to discuss about the what are the different service models of the cloud, what are the different services that they are provided by the cloud. So here we are having some different types of services, like everybody will say this: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. These are the different types of services provided by the cloud. Now, what is this? When we are discussing about AWS or else any cloud service provider, the first and foremost thing that we have to discuss here is, sorry, IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Infra as a service. Okay, infra or else infrastructure as a service. Now, what is the biggest problem that I am facing with the on-premises? I cannot purchase the servers. I cannot purchase the physical servers. Whenever I am going with a startup company, I am going to start a company. For starting the company, I am having a minimal of capital only. I don't have huge capital. So I cannot go with my simply what I can say, I cannot go with my uh, servers. So what I have to do, I have to go with the cloud computing only. So now what cloud will provide here is, cloud is not going to directly provide you the physical servers. They won't provide you the physical servers. They will provide you the infrastructure. So what is your requirement? You want to create an application. If you want to create an application, I will provide you a virtual server. So you can create your application on the virtual server, and you can run your virtual and you can run your application on the virtual server that they are going to say. So here, what is the part of you? So when they are saying that I am not going to provide you physical server, in the sense, in the back end, they will have the capacity, or else they will have the what I can say, permissions to handle the physical servers. But as a customer, as a consumer, you will have the permissions only to create a server, only to create a virtual machine. So if I say that, for example, if at all, if you can see here, a virtual server is running. If I want to know on what hardware this virtual server is running, that information is not there. So either it might be running on a Dell server, or else this virtual machine may be running on a HP server. I don't have that information. But what is my requirement? I want to run my application. I don't mind about the physical servers. I don't want to take the headache of the physical server. Not only physical server, I don't want to take the headache of the networking also. So some days what happens, whenever we are trying to connect to the servers, we are unable to connect. There might be a problem from our end as well as from the server end also. Sometimes the servers may be tripped out of network, or else sometimes the servers may be coming out of your network. So I don't want to find all these problems. Sometimes the network disturbances will be there, network will be down. So I don't want to fall into this loop. So for that, what I can do, I can simply go for the cloud configuration. And I don't want to monitor continuously. I don't want to monitor the storage, how much amount of disk space has been utilized, how much amount of data has been stored. So I don't want to bother about that. So for all these problems, we have a one-stop solution called as cloud. So in the cloud, this is the IaaS model. So what IaaS model will be saying? So I will provide you the infrastructure. I will provide you the infrastructure, in the sense, the cloud service provider will provide us the infrastructure, like servers, networking, and storage. They will provide that. So we don't need to worry about the infrastructure. But the thing is, We need to worry about the operating system, which type of operating system that I have to select for installing in the virtualization, which type of which version I have to select, which version of operating system I have to select, what are the applications that I need to run, that I have to select, and how much amount of traffic will be coming to my server that I have to estimate. So these are all the things I need to bother. But so what I don't need to bother here is I don't need to bother about my what I can say storage, networking, and physical servers. So if I have to give you an example, let us suppose think it is like construction of your home. So if I say that on premises is like constructing your home by yourself. Okay, if you want to construct a home, you can construct your home in multiple ways. So on premises is like constructing your home by yourself, which means that of course builders will be there, or else what I can say, the person who will build the house, the builders will be there. So laborers will be there who will give us, or else who will help us to construct our home. So what we need to do, we need to sit aside and we need to observe the construction every day to day. We need to sit at the construction site and we need to guide the people. So I don't want like this, I want in this manner, I don't want like this, why you are constructing like this. So you have to monitor them. So in the on premises also you have to stay near to the configuration, or else you have to configure the servers. Okay, so it will be more like user friendly. So whatever you want you can design like this. But when you come to the infrastructure as a service, in the on premises you have the portability to make whatever you want. But when you come to the infrastructure as a service, now what it will be like a giving your home construction for a contractor. You will provide your home construction to a contractor. So now what you will say, this is the plan and this is how my home should be constructed, and yeah, within this many days you have to provide me the home. This is the SLA for you. So what contractor will do, contractor will analyze the entire design, and we don't need to find his difficulty. Whatever the difficulties he is having, I don't mind. So my target is that at this particular point of time I need to, so the contractor has to hand over the home to me. So in the same manner here also, I don't need to bother about the physical servers and the networking and storages. So I need to bother about my, after entering into the home, after entering into your home. So the contractor has given you the entire home and you are now entering into the home. So whenever you are entering into the home, if you ask the contractor that why there is no fridge, why there is no AC, why there is no TV, why there is some XYZ gas stove, or else gas connection is not there. So then what contractor will do? Obviously, he is going to hit you with any stone. Why? Because he is into the building work. He is a contractor. He is going to hit you with any stone. So you cannot ask that. Why? Because those are the services that should be installed by you. The contractor won't give you that. So in the same manner, here also, whenever we are working with the infrastructure, they are going to provide us the total infra. Okay, total infrastructure is going to be provided by the cloud service provider. Now, if you ask me that, so I am running the Java application. Why can't I get a Java server? Why can't the Java is installed inside the server, or else inside the instance? Or else if at all, if I am working with a Python, so why Python is not installed on a on our server, or else why database is not installed on our server? We cannot ask them. We cannot ask them. So if so there is no scope for asking that. So infrastructure as a service means whatever the servers that they are providing, you have to create your own application. So entire thing will be in your hands. So you cannot, in the same manner, you cannot ask a contractor to purchase a 32 inches TV. So the contractor will say you, buddy, my work is done. It is totally in your hands. The same manner here also, as you go for the infrastructure as a service, so only the work that is done by AWS is just to provide you the servers, physical servers and virtualization. So after that, it is totally in your hands. And when you come back to the PaaS, platform as a service, platform as a service, here it is like a service apartment. Have you ever stayed in the service apartment? I hope some people might be staying in the service apartment, even though I am staying in my service apartment. Okay, so what is this service apartment? So whenever we are discussing about the service apartment, so we don't need to worry about the infrastructure. We don't need to worry about the what I can say, how the contractor has constructed the home and all the things. So what is that? So in a service apartment, they are going to provide us the services. They will be providing the TV, they will be providing the fridge, they will be providing the washing machine. Everything will be there. Every application will be there. But we have to manually work with those applications. In the same manner, PaaS means platform as a service. Here they will provide the platform. Okay. If you want to run some Java application, they will provide the Java platform. So if you want to run some databases, they will provide the MySQL databases. If you want to work with some DynamoDB, they will provide you the service called as DynamoDB. Here, what is happening in the platform as a service, they will provide you the platform. But the point is, you need to work on that. You need to work on that. So that is called as a platform as a service. When you come back to the next one, SaaS. SaaS means software as a service. So software as a service, in the sense, it is like residing in a hotel. Residing in a hotel. So when you reside in a hotel, so you don't need to go for washing your clothes in a washing machine. There won't be any washing machine. Okay, there won't be any fridge. There won't be anything. Okay, nothing will be there. So there will be a TV. If you want to watch it, you can watch it. So if you want to wash your clothes, there will be a person coming to you, and you have to hand over the laundry. And if you want to eat something, you have to go to the restaurant and you have to pay the money for that. In the same manner, here also SAS means, so they are not going to provide the infrastructure, they are not going to provide any platform. Simply they are going to give us the application. The best example is, if at all, if you try to understand this GoToMeeting, or else if at all, if you go for Zoom. So these are all comes under the SAS services, software as a service. I want my Zoom console should be looking in the blue color, not in the blue color. It should be in the red color. If you say that, so you cannot change that. You cannot modify that. Why? Because it's a software that is given by some XYZ company. Only they can change that. So you are paying for the software utilization. In the same manner, here also, some clouds, there are some applications which are provided by the cloud, like SMS, simple notification service. This is a software as a service. So you have to pay for that, and you need to utilize those services. So this will comes under the different types of service models. Okay, any questions understood about this different types of services? Any questions, guys? Questions? Are you clear with this?
Can you please give me an example for platform as a service?
RDS configuration. So our RDS, relational databases, there you don't have the eligibility to select the hardware, but you can install the SQL databases or Postgres databases. So you cannot able to select the type of hardware that you type of operating system and all the things. Simply you have to select the database which you want to install, and you can provide that required information. What is the credentials that you want to set for your database? That's it. So RDS in cloud, RDS will come under the PaaS services. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is about your service models. Now everything is fine. Then, sir, you said me that we have to learn networking. So I hope you understand about this. Then we will be going with the types of clouds in the next session. But the point is, you said us to learn the networking. What is the necessity of learning the networking? Why we need to learn the networking? Now, if you can see, this is a public cloud. If you understand this, we'll discuss about this public cloud, private cloud in the next session. But when you see the AWS is a public cloud, which means that if I have an account, if I have an AWS account, okay, I can create my servers. I can run my servers in the AWS data center. You need to understand what is meant by data center and all the things. We will learn about this in the next session. But the point is, here you need to understand it is a public cloud. Okay, inside the public cloud, everyone can get the public cloud. If at all, if you have 2 rupees in your debit card, you can create an AWS account. After that, whatever the resources that you have purchased, done, billing will be there. But the point is, here you can create your own AWS account. Like that, I am having some 10 accounts in my hand right now. But anyways, the point you need to understand here is, If you have a debit card and inside the debit card, if you are having 2 rupees, you can create your own cloud. You can create your entire servers. Okay. So now I am creating my server. For example, I am working in an enterprise. For the enterprise also, there will be AWS, what I can say, cloud operations will be there. So the enterprise may be working with the AWS. So whenever there are some enterprises, or else whenever there are some companies, for example, I am having a company called as CGIT is the CGIT Systems is the company name, for example. Okay, so for this company, there are some customers, or else there are some clients. Simple in the IT words, in the IT manner, if I have to say, there are some clients. Now, do you know who are these clients? So as it is an IT company, the clients will be maximum, it will be non-IT persons. Like most of the companies will have the clients as bank clients, banking clients. Okay, so now here I am having a client, and this is, for example, if I say SBI is one of the client for my company. Okay, and there is one more company. So SBI is a very big name that I have to suggest, but anyways, try to understand, just for your understanding I'm saying. So there is also another bank that is called as what I can say, that is called as some Union Banks. Okay, Union Bank is also there. Union Bank is there, and these two are the clients for my company. Okay, so suppose, for example, don't think logically, but try to understand. If you go for a small banking sector also, you can think like that. So for example, for my company, I am having a single AWS account. Just for time being, try to understand. I am having a single AWS account. So in this AWS account, I need to create the servers for SBI, and as well as I need to create the servers for the Union Bank. So whenever these servers are created in the same account, is there any chance that the two servers can communicate with each other? Do we have any chance that these two servers can communicate with each other by any chance? Of course, they are created in the same account, and if at all, if they are created side by side, and if they got the same range of IP address, they can communicate with each other. So here the point is, what you need to understand, first of all, we need to segregate this server. To segregate the servers, or else for making the communication with the servers, here what we are going to do with the servers. The first thing is, where servers will be created. Servers are going to be created in some remote location. Okay, so not only in AWS, not only in cloud, in on-premises also, do you see your servers in your company? The servers won't be there inside the company. The servers will be in some remote location. So how we are going to access these servers? How servers are accessible? Okay, this is the first question. How we are going to access the servers? And the second question is, how servers will provide the desired application for the end users? How servers will provide the app access for the users? This is the second question. And the next one is, if I want to, for example, there is an application server with me. Try to understand, there is a front end, that is UI in the sense user interface. So let me show you one thing. Okay, for example, this is my application. Okay, this is my training institute, and this is my application. But anyways, so when I click on AWS, if you can see, I am having some buttons. When I click on this AWS, it has to communicate with another server. This is my front end. Okay, if you can see, this is my front end. So simply, if you want to see this is already hosted. So hold on. If you go into this is my hosted website. When I click on this, automatically it will be redirected into the another application. There will be some business logic which we are going to write. So this is the front end. So for example, in the same manner, what I am going to do, try to understand this. Here I am having a front end server. Okay, so in this server I am going to write some code that is related to what I can say. Either it might be with the help of HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, or else we can go with the Bootstrap, or else AngularJS. With the help of them, I can develop my front end. Once the front end is developed, this for front end I am using a server. For front end I am using a server, like it is called as a web server. Okay, so and the next one here is, for my application I want to install an application. So for installing that application I am going to use another server called as application server. Here I am going to run some applications. Okay, so this is called as my app server. Now the point is, of course you can create web servers. You can ask me, sir, why can't we create the web servers and the application servers in the same server? We can do that, but anyways here I have two distinct servers. And now the point is, this web server has to communicate with my application. If any user requests anything, so from the front end, if you can see here, I am requesting. So when I go back to my application, I am requesting something like I want to go to this AWS link. Okay, so it is opening. So the application is opening in the, so backend some Python Flask application is running. So which means that front end is communicating with my application. Try to understand this. Front end is communicating with my application. So which means that, so both server has to communicate with each other. This front end server and the application server has to communicate with each other. Now how this communication will be happening? So how communication, simply in the word, how communication between servers will happen. So tell me the answers for this. What is the answer for this? How we can access the server? If the servers are in the remote location, how we are going to access the servers? And how the servers will provide the application access for the users? How servers, one server will communicate with the another server? What are the what is the concept behind that? How these servers will communicating with each other? Any answers, guys?
We have IP addresses and port numbers of the both servers, and we can somehow we have to establish the connection.
Yes, here comes the main point, that is called as IP address. And you mentioned something, somehow we need to create some connection. Connecting the devices is called as network. Okay, which means that whenever we are connecting the servers, this will form a network. So establishing the communication between the servers. So what I am saying, connecting the devices is called as a network. So I am having so many devices like this. I am having multiple servers. So these servers, without connection, they cannot do any work. So I am going to connect the servers. So this way of connection is called as network. Okay, we are not into the IP addressing right now. So we are just making the connectivity between the servers. So whenever we are establishing the connectivity between the servers, this is called as networking. So if we establish the communication, establishment of communication can be happened with the help of IP address only. For example, I am having a mobile phone, or else you are having a mobile phone, and your friend is having a mobile phone who is residing in America. If you want to communicate with each other, so then what is the mandatory thing that should be there between you and your friend? You are having a mobile phone and your friend is residing in America, and if you want to communicate with your friend, what is the mandatory thing that you and your friend needs to have? For example, some XYZ person is there, and if you want to talk with that XYZ person, what should be there with you?
Phone number and the cellular
Again,
provider signal.
Exactly. The first thing is most important. That is your mobile number. Not only your friend. If you don't know an unknown person, if your father said that, so my friend is there and he is going to offer you some job, so speak to him or else talk to him. Then what you will do? Obviously, you are going to ask the number from your father. So if you can please provide the number, I can communicate. So here, the communication, the most important thing for communication is your mobile number. In the same manner, if one computer wants to communicate with the another computer, or else if one server wants to communicate, establish the communication with the another server, then definitely we need to have the IP address. It is also a number, IP address. So without this IP addresses, the communication will not be established between the devices. You can have the connection between the two servers with the help of a cable, with the help of a physical cable, but the communication will be happen only with the help of IP address. Now the point is to understand about the IP addresses. So simply if I have to say, I can simply say the IP address configuration, numbering configuration and all the things. But so if you want to learn in deep about IP addressing, try to get the knowledge on binary to decimal number conversions and decimal to binary conversions, so that you can get a very good clarity about the IP addressing. But as of now, so that's about the topic which I want to tell you right now. So I am holding the session right here. So tomorrow we will be discussing about the IP addressing, networking concepts, and later on we will be going with the different types of clouds, so that we can wind up the session. And if you think these are the demos, you can think like demos. And from Monday onwards, we are going to start our actual AWS sessions. What is VPC and how we are going to configure the VPC and all the things. Now, questions, guys, regarding anything you can ask me right now, except my personal questions. Any questions you can ask me now. Yes, go on.
Hi Chaitanya. I was going through the course, like different types of courses you provide. So I see that you are providing the AWS administration with the GitHub and the Terraform, and as well as this particular course. So is there any difference in the content between the AWS between those courses, or just for the content of AWS?
No. Previously, I used to give that. For only one batch, I have given a AWS Git and Terraform. But majority number of the times, I am going with the AWS course only. Okay, the course fee is also very high for that. When you go for Git and Terraform, so right now you are paying some 5,000 rupees, right? But when you go for the Git and Terraform, it will be around 6,500 rupees. Okay, AWS plus the Git and Terraform. So content will be different, of course. As I already said you, I have mentioned that Git and Terraform will be there. Here, purely AWS will be there inside this course. And I am not going to go for the Git and Terraform in this course. And not only in this course, for the previous batches also. Only one batch I discussed about the Git and Terraform. But the rest of batches, I am going with the AWS only.
So will there be
Okay?
any difference in the topic of the AWS between those courses?
No. There won't be any difference.
And
Okay,
also,
the same whatever the topic that we are discussing right now, the same will be discussed in the previous course, where I have provided Git and Terraform also, but there won't be any changes. So additional courses are like Git and Terraform will be added.
okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
will you also include the ACM and the PKI in this particular course?
ACM means certification, right? You are saying about certificate manager and all
Certificate
the things.
manager, yeah, and public key infrastructure. So we are using those
Yeah.
components for AWS. So I just wanted to check if we.
You will come across all those things. It's just a short topic. It is not a very elaborated topic for the understanding, but yes, I can cover those also.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any further questions? Of course, you are having session tomorrow, Saturday. You don't want, so it's a weekend. These are the demos. We can go with the session tomorrow, or else if you want to carry me out for Monday, so from Monday onwards there will be paid sessions. So you have to join. You have to enroll yourself on Monday. Yes. So what you will think?
Please conduct tomorrow.
So you want session? So you want session on tomorrow, or you want me to directly go for Monday session?
Tomorrow.
Okay. So tomorrow session is there. Yeah. Tomorrow session will be there. Okay. Only for this Saturday, and from next Saturday onwards, you don't have any sessions on Saturdays, as these are the demo sessions and all the things. I am carrying out on Saturday also. But even though I have work, so you know, right. The point is, tomorrow I have some classes in Kubernetes, and I have my company work, and I have to carry out this class. And Sunday also, even though in Sunday also I'm having some sessions, Kubernetes sessions. So, anyways, no issues. There is a session on tomorrow also. Okay, fine. Anything that you want to ask apart from the sessions and all session timing will be the same, guys, 9 to 11. But these are the demo sessions. I am winding up at 10:30, most probably today. But from Monday onwards, you don't find these differences. We will be going with the somewhere around 11 o'clock also. Okay. Yes. Any questions other than this?
So Chaitanya, I have a question not from this particular AWS. Is it okay if I can ask?
Yeah. Go on.
So I'm right now working on a platform like where we are using Service Mesh, Spire, and OPA, and I am having some difficulty in managing the Spire. Like it is using different types of certificates like root certificate, lead certificate, and intermediate certificate to sign the workload. So is there any way, like, are you do you have any such courses for like covering those topics? Because I'm having some difficulty on understanding this
We
fire and
have.
all.
See, I will suggest a course. Like I am going to talk about service meshes in the Kubernetes concepts actually. Okay, it's an far behind advanced topic where I will discuss about these in the Kubernetes, not about the Spire, but yes, service mesh I am going to cover in the Kubernetes. Okay, as of now, it's a basic topic which we are discussing. AWS is the basic topic, and whatever you have said about the certificates and all things that I can cover in the Kubernetes. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I hope this is fine for you. Anyone else want to ask any further questions? You can join right now. So this is the time. So I'm going to wind up the session right away. Any further questions? Okay then. We'll meet on tomorrow's session at 9 o'clock. So is everyone is comfortable with that, right? So of course, only for this weekend. Just to skip the weekend activities, whichever you have tomorrow's night. But yeah, only for this weekend, and from the next weekend also onwards, you don't have the class on Saturday and Sunday. That's it. And have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.